Enjoy.
My name is Farnaz Ohadi. I'm a Persian flamenco artist based in Vancouver, Canada. Growing up, I was influenced by both flamenco music and traditional Persian music. My dad was very interested in flamenco music, and my mom was very interested in classical Persian music. And it didn't feel any different to me until I came to Canada. Years later, when I was looking to find my own authentic voice as an artist, I realized how much this combination of exposures really mattered. I realized that being exposed to these two completely different disciplines made this interest in me alive, that I wanted to find a voice that nodded to both disciplines and was a combination of both. When I was thinking about combining the two, it felt at once at odds and also felt very natural. I thought about how would the soft lyricism of Persian language would work in the dominant culture of rhythm in flamenco, and would they even be able to work together? And was this combination even worth it to explore, or should it be left alone because they both are completely established, beautiful genres of music? I have been involved in the flamenco community in Vancouver since 1998, started as a dancer and moved on to become a singer. In my path, as I was exploring flamenco, I came across many people who were instrumental in my exploration of the music and eventually in my ideas when I started thinking about adding Farsi lyrics to to flamenco music. One of the most important people that was instrumental in this path, in this journey, was Cassandra, her professional name, Cassandra Lachina, who was initially my flamenco teacher, and eventually we became colleagues through our explorations in dance and in music. When the commission for the first song came through Cassandra, the idea of creating an album wasn't even in my radar. I was just thinking of one song, exploring it, and just see where it goes. And the exploration and study of the first song took almost 2 years to complete, when I felt that it was good enough to present to her and for her to put a choreography to it and for us to actually mount it on a stage performance. It's interesting that now, by the time this song actually will be recorded in studio with a team of musicians, it will be more than 10 years. And it will be hopefully for an album that I'm working on for next year, November 2021.
My name is Cassandra Lee, and my flamenco stage name is Cassandra Lachina. And I'm a professional flamenco dancer here in Vancouver, BC, Canada. I think I'm pretty well known through the country as a flamenco dancer. And in terms of flamenco, there's many avenues that flamenco takes these days, from authentic traditional cuadro flamenco all the way to contemporary flamenco and all of the fusions.
That's someone that you admire and respect, and they're very good at what they do, lingers and stops and listens and decides, okay, maybe this is worth my time thinking about. And then you went beyond that, obviously, by what you did and all your classes. And you want to talk a little bit about that, of what motivated you to sort of not say no and think that, hey, I could support this and see where it might go?
Well, you know, we're all foreigners in flamenco. So here we are in Canada, all the different colors, all the ages of people trying to learn this thing called flamenco, but we're actually a whole ocean several countries and many cultures possibly away from the origins of flamenco. So even the origins of flamenco are very suspicious. So we know that flamenco originated in Andalusia in the 1700s, but its origins are actually very suspect. Many people think that flamenco comes from Indian roots. Many say Arabic roots, many say Moorish roots, and it has Jewish, Spanish, and Gypsy influence. So just from the origins of flamenco, it's very mixed already. And so here we are in Canada, all the way in Vancouver, BC, trying to the best of our ability with integrity, try to execute flamenco.
Yeah.
But honestly, if we were to maintain truth and maintain the integrity and essence of flamenco, in the end, it's a personal expression. So we can't say no. We can't say no to its fusions, and we can't say no to somebody who's actually expressing their authentic truth.
How do you see the trajectory if you were to kind of quantify it and talk about it?
It's actually more about you, Farnaz. To me, whether it's Persian, Persian flamenco fusion or not, it's actually the thought and the artistry and the authentic message behind. You have evolved over many, many years now, and it just changes based on the sophistication level has actually changed quite a bit from our first days trying out the
interesting
Persian flamenco sigiriya.
Yes.
All the way to the album The Bird Dance with the Soleá fusion in 10 compas. And it greatly evolves depending on who you're primarily working with. In addition to being the singer and songwriter, you're actually a visionary behind it. Now, without that vision, would I be compelled with the fusion? I'm not sure, but it's more like you have a very international, forward-thinking female women empowerment vision, which I think needs to be executed along with the music. And I think
there's many facets to it. That's true. There's like the storytelling behind it is not just about the technique or about the ideas of just combining the two sorts of music, which is in itself is one pillar that holds the concept together. But really the idea behind it.
My first album, Bird Dance, was published in 2016, about 6 years after the first song that I mentioned that I worked with Cassandra on. When the album was out there, at the beginning, I really felt that it was just a personal exploration of the idea, of the concept of a Persian flamenco music. It was also very personal. It was all about the stories of me growing up and experiences as an immigrant and a Persian woman wanting to sing and perform as an artist. But there was an enthusiasm that came along with it that frankly quite surprised me. I didn't think the reception would be so warm and enthusiastic, and it came from a lot of different people. The reception came from people from Spain who were very used to very traditional flamenco. It also came from my colleagues here in Canada and Iranians who were very interested in flamenco music. It made me pause and made me think, okay, perhaps this is something to linger on and think about and explore some more. Over the years, it has morphed into a passion, a path that I seem to really quite enjoy exploring. I'm not really sure what the final result is, but what's happening right now, I find extremely satisfying. My goal has always been to create a seamless conversation between Persian music, Farsi lyricism, and also flamenco rhythm and sensibility. And of course, that's achieved through a lot of different ways, through instruments that are having a conversation together musically, or through the language, where the accents fall. So they're true to the language and the poetry of the Farsi language, but also very true to the rhythm of flamenco. In the new album, Azadi.Libertad, I feel that I've gotten closer to succeeding in this goal. What's particularly remarkable to me personally about this album is that, as I mentioned, the first song took a very long time. First of all, to find the courage to put it out there, and to allow myself, give myself permission to go there, but also just to really understand how the language, something so melodic, Farsi is very melodic, can sit on such a percussive rhythm such as flamenco. However, in this album, we spent a week together with a very special group of people. We went to an artistic residency on Galiano Island in BC. In that week, we explored and we went in with an open canvas and some ideas, having not much expectation of what will be coming out of that week. When the first song and first album basically took essentially 4 to 6 years to develop and publish, these songs took about a week to come out, and I believe that the results are quite remarkable, and I'm very proud of them. That's where the importance of co-creators come in, where people who are equally as brave or as naive or as imaginative as I feel that I am sometimes, they take your hand and we say, okay, let's go, let's see what we can do. And I do believe that the people that came with me to the residency made this album a reality. Every song has their signature on it. One of the challenges and the beauties of Mashregh Ensemble is that not everybody lives in Vancouver. That means the time that we spend together is quite precious. 2 of us are in Montreal, 2 are in Vancouver. Our producer is in Toronto. We have a dancer who lives in Vancouver, but we also work with a dancer who is in Spain. We also have a guitarist who now lives in Mexico. So residency felt very special. Each of the members that joined me on this path, Amir on his beautiful santour, and Josue on his guitar, Michael on his bass, who is not a flamenco bass player, but he came along anyway. And then there's Hanser, who is a Cuban percussionist, and myself, of course, and Sydney joined us as a dancer in this project. None of us are really pure flamenco artists, but we believed in the idea, and that's where what happened was quite magical. We all came with ideas. We spent some time together and we just explored and had conversations and played the music for each other. And a few of the ideas emerged and we clung to them, and each person, each member contributed musically, and we explored. And then by the time the 7 days or 6 days were over, we had 7 songs. More than anything, I like to talk about the friendship that came out of the residency and the fact that we all believed that we found a way to have a conversation musically. We each came from a very different background and discipline, but the conversation was seamless because we were all listening. And I think that's really the beauty of fusion music. If you are listening, if you're able to be open, conversations that can happen can take you places that you would never imagine. When we came back to Vancouver, we decided to have a live presentation, more like, on the week that passed, we did this. And we had a workshop and we had a couple of presentations that we recorded. And we had every plan to come back in May to do a complete studio recording, to really explore the songs, to open them up. But obviously COVID happened. The plan was to develop these songs musically, add illustrations and videos to the background, and really develop them as a stage production in preparation for our tour in the fall, which will take us to Toronto, including Aga Khan Museum. So all the plans for the tour had to be placed on hold. We had discussed going to Mexico and Cuba. We had discussed going down to the States. We were going to go across Canada all the way to the eastern Canada, but obviously COVID had other plans for us. But if nothing else, flamenco marks people for being survivors and, willing to deal with hardship. And this was going to be our hardship. And I have used it as a blessing to focus on developing the other sides of this project, which was equally as strong and important in the storytelling, which was the visual sides of things. I invited Ramin Mahjouri to come and explore the project with me when we did the presentation. I've known of him, admired his work. I've known about his body of work and the way he morphs from one material to another and one idea and to another, and I really was eager to work with him. And I was delighted when he said yes.
My name is Ramin Mahjouri, and I do a number of things. Primarily, I'm a writer by trade, journalist, and then, as they say, running, jogging is mother of all sports. And I believe writing is mother of all arts. So from writing, then I sort of deviated to other forms of expression. When I first heard you, it was very different because I was expecting flamenco, and then I heard Moshiri, and then it dawned on me, it worked on me. And I remember vividly that I came out and I found you and I said, I don't know if you knew me at the time, or you knew of me probably. I didn't know you. So I came to you and I found you and I came to you and I said, Farnaz, now you're my new best friend. Because I enjoyed the music so much, and it was surprising. Spanish music, flamenco, and then hearing Persian poetry on that music, I really loved it. So I think that's the beginning of our friendship or connection.
Working with Ramin actually has been really interesting because I really admire the fact that he is very sensitive to lyrics. And if nothing else, this project has a lot to do with lyrics. It has a lot to do with Persian poetry in particular. And a lot of the times it's difficult to say what is more important, the flamenco rhythm or the words that I'm using, because I choose them extremely carefully. So working with him was very important because, as I said, he's a writer. Originally, in his heart, he's a writer, and he's very sensitive to lyrics. But also, I really like the fact that he was a multidisciplinary artist, and he will be open to combining ideas, to collages, to working with photography, with calligraphy, with color. So it allowed him a chance to explore just as I was exploring the music. So it seemed like a really good collaborative idea.
Collaboration has a totally different meaning. That means you say something, I say something, and then we do it together. And what I do is not together, it's just me doing it. So it was a new experience for me, and again, the credit goes to you, because while you provided the framework, guideline, and told me what you liked in what your vision was, you didn't enforce that vision into particulars. So you provided me with the vision, the framework, and you let me do my thing. So in that way, collaboration worked beautifully. Well, it was a great experience. I'm really happy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I find creativity to be very elusive. Sometimes I could be spending hours and hours on the computer or my notebook writing songs or lyrics and try very hard to actually work on a piece of music with my book of poetry, or be listening to flamenco all day, and really nothing really sits properly. And then sometimes, truly out of nowhere, something appears. And that's magical. And it's happened so many times, I don't question it as much anymore, but it still surprises me. I felt that the work on this album particularly felt very magical, because my intentions going into the residency and working on this album and on this project wasn't quite really what came out. But what came out was even better, because I was open and I allowed inspiration to come from all kinds of different places, including the location we were at, the people that we were with, and just the flow of ideas. And more than anything, when you spend your time with people who are with you in your ideas and they support you wholeheartedly in their soul and in their ideas and in their thoughts, then truly there's nothing you can't do. I think the highlight of this project for me is camaraderie, which, as you know, a child of immigrant, first generation immigrant, it's everything when you find a new home.